acting just happens to be a passion, and wherever I get to portray my talent, I just whether it's here or whether I think the only thing that I consider before signing up for anything is the character that I'm being offered.
Does the whole social media environment kind of, pressurize you at some point?
I had no plans of acting, and growing up, I was such a restless soul. I wanted to be so many things. Like every 6 months, I would change, the entire idea of my profession. My father would be like, "Ye kya ban jayegi?" And I don't know, because every 6 months I would change like my profession entirely.
Has this journey been everything that you would have wanted it to be? In Pakistan, is it still not that easy for everybody to be as outspoken or as open as they would like to be when it comes to women? I mean, I see that here in India as well. I mean, it's not very easy for everybody to just speak out. You get trolled on social media. There's massive trolling of women. Is that a phenomena that you come across as well?
I think now we are experimenting with different roles. We are trying to expand the horizon. We are trying to do things that we have not done in the past, and people are sort of have started accepting it. But it's still, I think it will take a couple of more years for people to get there. People these days, I'm sorry to say, but they're nuts. They're aggressive. They're frustrated. They want to talk about every goddamn thing they see. So I'm sorry to say, we're not living in very responsible times where people actually used to think before saying. So taking them seriously and ruining your peace of mind is just something I don't do.
Rounding off table talk with something light and refreshing this week. Well, I'm a big fan of Pakistani dramas, but I'm also a big fan of success stories, and combining both these aspects is Zarnish Khan, a top Pakistani drama actor. Well, she joins me today to speak about not just her journey, but why Pakistani dramas score so big, and also what is different with what we see on our television sets here.
It's wonderful to have you on the show, Zarnish. I've been watching your shows, and I to me, the reason I wanted to actually interview you was personal, because I find your acting to be extremely elegant and understated. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Thank
because
you.
because when I look at a lot of acting around us, our daily soap operas, they tend to overact in some aspects. Although I think the OTT, what is going on with our OTT platforms has changed the way. But do you watch Indian dramas?
Well, to be honest, I used to a lot, but now I barely get time to even watch my own dramas. So I haven't really been updated for the past couple of, let's say, years. but big Bollywood fan. I watch a lot of movies, though.
Not surprising, right?
Not surprising at all.
Now I was going to come to that later and ask you if you ever wanted to act in Bollywood, but you can tell me that now.
Acting just happens to be a passion, and wherever I get to portray my talent, I just whether it's here or whether I think the only thing that I consider before signing up for anything is the character that I'm being offered. It has to match the criteria that I have, the specific things that I go through before I sign anything. And if ever I get anything like an opportunity to play anywhere, like जिस तरह अभी Miss Marvel में भी हमारी पाकिस्तान से काफी सारे लोगों ने किया है, so that's like a really proud moment. So I don't really think it's about the platform, it's about the character I'm being offered. I'm more focused about what I do. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've never really been fascinated by the fact where it's going to be aired or whether the drama is going to be huge or not. I've always been focused on what I have to do in it, and I give it my 100%. And I just have to enjoy my work while I do it. What comes out of it, how well it gets received, and what kind of response I get, that's not certainly what I think about when I'm doing something. So
doesn't that simplify life?
It does, right? Big time. I think I'm one of the most least complicated and most happy actors in the world, because I don't have any complications. My work is just for my soul, and that's it. So no blurred lines, no errors, nothing. It's not complicated at all in my head.
But does the whole social media environment kind of pressurize you at some point?
It may come as a surprise to you, and most people here would probably think that because these days everybody's a part of this rat race where we need to be first, we need to like run in first in the field. But I really don't feel that pressure, none at all. Speaking of which, it was a deliberate act, because when you're acting and when you get so used to fame and people coming after you, being admired and all of that, that it somewhere takes a toll on your head, and somewhere down the line you actually start becoming a different person, and then you have to remind yourself that to be rooted where you come from, what are the right goals. This is just work, and work has to be work. I feel you should never let anything get to your head to a level where it takes away your peace. So it was a deliberate act on my part that I don't feel the pressure to be a part of any rat race. I mean, मेरी एक अपनी जगह है, एक अपनी pace है, अपना काम है, और मेरे हिसाब से चलेगा वो, because it's for me.
Let me go back to how you started on this journey, Zarnish. Was it something you always wanted to do? Did it come easy, or did you have to work for it?
Okay, so it's a funny story. When I listen to all these other actors who are like super passionate about their work, don't get me wrong, so am I, big time. But initially, I had no plans of acting, and growing up, I was such a restless soul. I wanted to be so many things. Like every 6 months, I would change, the entire idea of my profession. My father would be like, "Ye kya ban jaye?" I don't know, because every 6 months I would change like my profession entirely. That now I want to be this, now I want to be that. But surprisingly, acting was never part of it. Although I come from a very filmy family where I used to wake up to school, see my mom and dad dancing to Jackie Sharp and Madhuri ke gaane.
Oh, what fun!
So I would be like, but I had that filmy keeda in me somewhere. But I was certainly never have I ever thought in my wildest of dreams that I'll ever end up acting. So this was just more of like destiny than choice. You know what I'm saying? So what happened was, a friend of my mom's used to act, and she was acting in Islamabad where I used to live at the time. And she was going on the sets, and she's like, let me take her with me now. So I went on the set with her, and I was just helping her do her lines while she was getting her makeup done, and the director overheard. And he was like, iski awaaz bahut achhi hai. So he's like, can you read a couple of more lines for me? I was like, probably he has trouble reading or whatnot. So I read a few more lines, and he was like, I want this girl for like certain part in the play. And I'm like, dude, that's not happening, because I come from a comparatively conservative family. We're Pathans. So I was like, I really don't see that happening, but okay. So anyway, he convinced my dad, and he convinced my mom, and he was like, it's just going to be like one-time thing. I will send her home before 8, so like no pressure whatsoever. And we'll finish her work within 15 days. That's how I started. So the first project got hit, and then out of Shugal, I said, chalo dusra bhi try karte. And that was it. That was supposed to be the end of my journey. But then I won an award, and then I was like, holy moly, this is something fun, worth pursuing. And from then on, I don't know, I never thought about how far I'm going to take this. Good things came along, and I just felt like, going ahead with it. Abhi bhi mujhe nahi pata kab tak kya. हर दफा मैं ये सोचती बस अब मैंने चले जाना है, फिर कुछ एक्साइटिंग आ जाता है, फिर अंदर का फिल्मी कीड़ा is like, okay, maybe one more.
But has this journey been everything that you would have wanted it to be?
Well, as I said, I'm not the kind of person who puts a lot of expectations into something that you have no idea of, because it was an entirely different field, and I'm not from the industry. I don't know anyone from within, right? So I pretty much imagined or prepared myself for any obstacles that could have come my way, which is why like I wouldn't say, since I never opted for it, I wouldn't say that I didn't have to struggle for it on any part. Like I did. Every work has its own struggle and its own obstacles that I have to overcome. But having said that, I think I'm the kind of person who actually enjoys these things. Otherwise, it's just going to be boring and dull. So first of all, starting with getting permission every time from my parents, and the restriction and the boundaries and all that. So abiding that, doing the work, maintaining my home peace, and then being good at work. It was the first complication that I had to deal with. Then professionally, I was a child. When I started, I must have been like a teenager, and I had no idea how things work outside of my family. So that took me by surprise. I would meet people every day that I would not understand what their agenda was on this planet. But nonetheless, I think the experience overall has been immensely pleasant. I mean, every day I got to learn something new. And I chose to have fun with whatever situation I was given. I could have been pessimistic about it. I could have been like negative about it. But I'm the kind of person who does not like to ruin my peace. And neither I allow anyone to do that. So like, मैं अपने interviews में अक्सर बोलती हूँ कि मैं in a way इतनी happily self-involved हूँ कि मेरे side पे बम भी फट जाए. I wouldn't know, because I'm like in that happy bubble and I don't let people burst it. So I think, yeah,
it's rare to be in that. No, it's rare to be in that bubble because there's something bursting from every side right now, isn't there? There is just like there's this hurry to be somewhere. There is that place to be photoshopped, to be liked. It's constant, isn't it? It's beautiful to be.
By the end of the day, it also depends on how you take things. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and telling you, oh, take this pressure, you must be first in the lane. No, I mean, like being an actress, there's some days when I want to look hideous and not give a damn about it. I want to go to a mall, have food in the food court looking like hell, and I don't care because it's my life. And if someone takes a picture, and people do, they put it up, I don't feel embarrassed. Why should I? And if there's something that I've put up that people don't agree with, okay, I respect your opinion, but it's my life, love. So by the end of the day, nobody's putting a gun to your head. I hope not. So till that point comes, we're chill. You don't have to take the pressure. I mean, just people need to learn to be happy with what's given. When you run after something, when you want more than you can see or you can sort of predict having, that's just going to ruin your peace of mind. So I think take it as a slow pace, enjoy life more than you just live it, So that's my agenda.
You're fairly outspoken. You're fairly outspoken. You say what you feel. In Pakistan, is it still not that easy for everybody to be as outspoken or as open as they would like to be when it comes to women? I mean, I see that here in India as well. I mean, it's not very easy for everybody to just speak out. You get trolled on social media. There's massive trolling of women. Is that a phenomena that you come across as well?
Initially, I think when I started working, times were different then, and it was a huge problem. Before saying anything, there were a lot of things where I had a different narrative, where I would want to speak differently, and I knew that if out of 10 I would be the only person who has a different opinion, and that might have put me in trouble. But times are changing now. I think especially for women, because of all the recent actions we've been taking. So now I think everybody has the right to say whatever they want to say. But you obviously being a celebrity, there's a certain stigma attached to your persona, and you got to take care of that. So you are responsible for what you say. You can't have verbal diarrhea. That's just something you have to focus on. And that's just not right for anybody to have, whether you're a celebrity or not. We live in a time where there's freedom of speech. Everybody gets to say whatever they want. People have different opinions. And especially women are highly respected now in Pakistan, which I'm really, really happy about. और ये भी I think ये changes जो आए हैं major, it took place like in the last couple of years, which is actually amazing to see. So yeah. Now we don't live in the time where we had to like sort of hold their opinions back, and Pakistan used to be one of the countries, and we all know it, but not anymore. I think it's pretty liberal now.
What about roles, Zarnish? Roles badle ki nahi for women, or have they expanded? Like what I see in India is that because OTT platforms itne zyada khul gaye hain, away from the conventional daily soap, where the roles are still pretty much the same, the saas bahu and the kitchen stuff that goes on. What happens in the OTT, it has really opened up in the last 2 years for women actors here in India. So have the roles expanded for women there?
I think now we are experimenting with different roles. We are trying to expand the horizon. We are trying to do things that we have not done in the past, and people are sort of have started accepting it. But it's still, I think it will take a couple of more years for people to get there. I mean, it's actually kind of funny that when we watch Hollywood movies, that's all we watch, right? And that's the kind of content we want to watch, and then we really appreciate them. And then, for instance, some of the Bollywood movies as well, we get completely inspired of. And we're like, this is something, we want to watch because there's masala, there's masti, there, the intellectual BA content, there's something informative and all that. But then when you're trying to do that in your country, it's called breaking norms. And, although where I feel it's just breaking the monotony, it's just introducing something new. And that's what you want, guys. Right? But eventually, I think it will take a couple of more years for people to just settle in. They have started accepting it, but not quite. I think we need still at least a couple of more years to get there. But we have great web series coming out, working on absolutely different content, which I'm really happy about. And even our dramas are very different now. And Pakistani dramas are actually known to be different for a very, very long time. We have, our roles are very conventional for women, but at the same time, it's not just about making rotis in the kitchen. It's about all sorts of women, working women and women who are back home, and then गाँव के जो मसले होते हैं, हर तरह के टॉपिक पे हम लोग बना रहे होते हैं. लेकिन कुछ बाउंड्रीज हैं जो फॉलो करनी होती है. वो हमें अपने ऑब्वियसली कल्चरल बैरियर्स हैं, रिलीजियस बैरियर्स हैं. रिलीजियस बैरियर्स रहने भी चाहिए, कल्चरल बैरियर्स भी रहने चाहिए. बट एट द सेम टाइम देयर वाज दिस वन ड्रामा वेयर दे वर शोइंग चाइल्ड अब्यूज, and there was quite a stir in the market, about that drama. That why are you showing this? You're just, promoting aggressive behavior and all that. And I was like, yeah, that's true, probably, perhaps. But on the other hand, if you see, we're creating awareness. This is just something that happens, and people need to be aware, and they do not have to be frightened and hold their kids back. कि तुम्हारे साथ जो हुआ तुम चुप करके बैठो. We can't speak of it because it's so embarrassing. Why is it embarrassing? If someone has done that, chop their hands off.
Yeah, but sometimes just the backlash or, the negative outbursts against any role that you've done doesn't make you say, oh my God, where am I? Let me just not do this anymore. Have you ever reached that point where, you've been totally submerged with the outpouring that has come from outside?
Well, when you become an actress, or when you become any personality that has direct access to people, I think you should accept one thing. There are millions of people watching you every day, and not everyone will agree with you. What you do, who you are, what you think, what you, they will not agree with you. And you should not feel the urge to have everybody agree with you. If you just understand this one little concept, I think you'll be very happy in your life. And there will be some certain things that people will, most people would have a lot of bad things to say about it, but I don't think you should let that get to your head. There have been good things that people really appreciated. So let's just, एक छोटा सा kickback shouldn't hurt you that bad. जब आप एक ऐसी जगह पे हैं, किसी भी बात के बारे में, it doesn't even have to be anything controversial. People these days, I'm sorry to say, but they're nuts. They're aggressive. They're frustrated. They want to talk about every goddamn thing they see. So I'm sorry to say, we're not living in very responsible times where people actually used to think before saying. So taking them seriously and ruining your peace of mind is just something I don't do. Because I think somewhere you need to be sorted up here. You need to be sorted here. You need to know what you're doing. This happens probably when you end up doing something you weren't sure of from the beginning. And when it turned bad, you're like, oh God, see, I knew it. So when you're sure about something, then you shouldn't care what people say because you knew what you were doing. And if it was right for you, that's it. People can make their peace with it in their own time, and it's all right.
So, in India, of course, Bollywood is so huge, and, the celebrity status that goes with Bollywood is huge. But in Pakistan, I think it's more with your dramas and, all the actors in the dramas. What does it entail, that stardom entail for a Pakistani actor?
Like in terms of?
In terms of, what does it mean to be a celebrity in Pakistan? Between cricket and acting, I think these are the two things, which are common to us, right? It's the same with us, right? Cricket and actors. It's huge.
Well, I think, as you said, I think our movie industry is growing now. But we're famous for our dramas. We're famous for the kind of content we create through our dramas, and the world sees it. But like I feel, that's my personal opinion, I feel people are not that mad about entertainment industry in Pakistan. So that has a lot to do with our, again, cultural and religious barriers. They're like a massive population probably does not even watch TV because they have certain perspective on life, and they have different ideology and all of that, and probably they don't agree with what they watch on TV and all that. So वो जो फैन फॉलोइंग है आपकी, जिससे आप स्टार बनते हैं, वो जो आपका स्टारडम होता है, उसके पीछे वजह होती है कि वो लोग होते हैं जो, लाइक इन इंडिया आई नो पीपल वर्शिप देयर एक्टर्स, लाइक शाहरुख खान की पूजा कर रहे होते हैं लोग, मूर्तियां बना रहे होते हैं. We don't have that kind of madness in Pakistan. And the major reason is probably because हमारी mainstream अभी तक drama industry ही है.
I come from Punjab, okay, the other side of Punjab, yeah. And for me, when I was really young, and there was not even a dish TV, but we would get like this snappy signal from across the border. And I remember my parents watching something in black and white called Sona Chandi. And I think there is some, years and years ago, right? So I had this thing when I was a kid hearing that, today we can watch, it's come out live. So we've actually grown up with it in the sense that, then the VHS thing came, and Dhoop Kinare, and, all of that. So watched quite a bit of it, actually. So I think it's fascinating for us. For me, I mean, I can see no difference. Tell me something. If you ever were to watch an Indian serial that goes on for like 300 episodes, what would you do if you were asked to act in one of those?
Well, as a kid, there was this show that I used to love. Wait. Yeah, कौन सा था? Wait. It was...
One eternity later.
Shararat. That used to be my favorite show. But then that went on for like years. It was like, had like what, 3,000 episodes or more. Well, I would certainly not do anything like that because मैं इतनी long commitment में पढ़ ही नहीं सकती हूँ. I have a very small attention span. Like the dramas that we do, we have to commit about 60 days minimum. And if it's a drag, then sometimes 100 days. But those 100 days for me is like death. 60 is the max I can do, because then after a while, no matter how much you get along with everyone else, there comes a point where you just want to, like, I'm saying too much here. This is the problem I have a habit of oversharing and being totally honest. But I certainly don't see myself being a part of that much of a long commitment, because 3,000 episodes. No.
Yeah. I mean, in your industry, do you make real friends?
I have. Then again, पता है क्या होता है ये है कि it's a very superficial industry, right? And everybody's sort of hogging after work. So no matter how much on face you say, oh, we're such good friends, at the back of your mind, you're thinking about, oh, if there's something better happening, I might get it first. And actors tend to think like that. But for that, I think, and which I do not find wrong. There's nothing wrong with being super passionate about your work. And life is a race. Like, practically, if you come to think of it, there are a lot of people who don't just act for fun. It's how they make their bread and butter. So for them, if they don't make big, it's actually trouble for them. That's how they run their house. So I feel that even if it's not about that, even if it's just your passion, you're allowed to be greedy for it. And there's nothing wrong about it. Having said that, I don't happen to be one of those. I've gladly stepped out of very good projects and sort of, introduced someone, like one of my friends, that, okay, that person is available, I'm going for vacation, or even if I'm not. Because for me, it's not about, okay, when I do something, yes, I have certain criterias, but it's not about work, I'm not greedy for work. जितना है जो है मैं उसमें खुश हूँ, और मेरे लिए मेरे acquaintances या मेरे जो colleagues हैं, जो actually are all the people I've worked with so far, they're my very good friends. Like, we get along on a personal level, और हम लोग जब भी बैठ के बात करें तो हम यही कहते हैं कि यार हम कितने अलग किस्म के actors हैं, ऐसा क्यों नहीं है? But उसके पीछे वजह ये होनी चाहिए कि काम को काम ही समझें. I mean, it has more to do with if you have faith and if you believe in the higher power, what's yours will be yours by the end of the day. Nobody can take it away. I cannot do anything. Like I signed a project um, where things weren't working out because some people weren't getting along on the set, and there was a bad vibe every day. And I'm like a set clown, right? I need to have everyone in the good mood. एक बंदे का भी mood खराब होता है, puts me in a bad mood, and I cannot afford anybody putting me in a bad mood. So we did like 2.5 weeks, and then like no, it's not happening. It's just I can't. I mean, like for me, it's not about how big the project is, what people are gonna do. By the end of the day, if I'm not having fun, that's it. And if people cannot learn how to be professional / fun at the same time, I'm sorry. So I feel लोग जो है ना काम के पीछे बहुत ज़्यादा greedy हो जाते हैं, तो they forget to have fun, then they get burned out, and then they take it out on other people, which is super frustrating. So friends होते हैं यार, लेकिन वो तभी होते हैं जब लालच नहीं होता है या जब आप insecure नहीं जब आप होते हैं, जब आप when you're comfortable in your skin and you know what you are, then I think you can be friends, no matter what the gender is.
What is it that you like to do outside of work?
I like to paint. I like to write. I dance.
Nice.
I sing occasionally. I love traveling. That's just something मुझे 2 दिन भी मिलते हैं तो मैं कहीं पे भी निकल जाती हूँ. Yeah.
Have you traveled to India? Have you been to
I
India?
would love to. I hear it's pretty. A lot of my friends are from India, and a lot of my fans as well. And it's a beautiful place. I'd love to visit it sometime. Let's see हमारे हालात और ये सारी चीजें कब sort out होती हैं. But जब भी हो जाएगा.
Maybe we'll see you in a Bollywood movie someday, Zarnish. Never say never.
Never say never. Yeah, what we know.
Right. What to do? Let me end this with. Which Bollywood actor would you really like to act with?
Huh. Well, my all-time favorite has been Hrithik Roshan,
Nice.
and Arjun Rampal.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would
Never
think
know
it
what's
all
coming.
and slightly dark. So,
It's been a pleasure, Zarnish, speaking with you. It's really been fun speaking to you, and enjoy watching your shows. And I think that you bring to the table what I see right here. That energy is what is really, I think it carries you through. It carries all of us through. The energy is so important, but it's wonderful. And like I said, hope to see you in India sometime, and hope to see you
Inshallah.